right, hi there, this is Mrs. Praviti, and we are working on our 1.3 geometry test. This is the multiple choice section right now, and our learning target is using midpoint and segment bisectors. So if we look at number 9, we're given two ordered pairs. It says given points G, which is 2, 10, and H, which is -6, -10, find the coordinates of the midpoint of GH. So if you recall, on your note sheet, you should have a midpoint formula. It is on the back of your note sheet for 1.3. Just to refresh your memory, our formula is we take x1 plus x2, and we put that over 2, or divide by 2, and then it's comma, to find our next one is y1 plus y2, and we put that over 2, or divide by 2, and that will give us our new x and our new y. So kind of just to help you, just remember, we go through and we want to label our points. This is x1 because it's the first x we see. This is y1 because it's the first y we see. This is x2 and this is y2. So you are going to plug these into the right spot, the numbers. Be very careful of the positives and negatives because the formula is a plus sign, but if you have to add positive and negatives and then do across the top, divide by 2 and you get a new point. Same with the y coordinates, just be very careful to use the correct coordinates. Okay, number 10. M is 3, -2, and it's the midpoint of ST. Okay, so with number 10 again, we're given a midpoint and an endpoint. So if you remember from your notes, you were at example 5 on the notes. And this is where we're at B. So B, for example 5 on the note, shows us when we're given a midpoint and we are given one endpoint. So what we need to do is we're going to use this formula above, but we don't know one of the x's. So we're going to pretend like we know the x1 and the y1. So we'll call this x1, y1. And then what we are going to do is we need to make sure that we are going to then plug this in to find our points. So for the first part, to find the other point, we would do using this formula. So x1, we'd take 3 plus our unknown x. You can call it x, you can call it x2, I don't care what you call it. And then we are going to divide that by 2. And we have to set that equal to x1 for the midpoint. So we set that equal to 3. These are working with all the x's. We will solve this. You'll solve this part to find your x coordinate. To find our y, again, we're going to kind of do the same thing. So that's my x coordinate. You're going to do that solving. And remember, this is the special type where we get rid of the divided by 2 first. You know, you draw the line in and then you solve. So we've done lots of examples like this. So I don't want to give you too much of a hint. I want to see what you can do on your own, but I'm going to help you set up for the y. It's the same thing. So I'm going to leave myself some room over here. So again, we have y1, which is 4, plus, again, we don't know the y2, or you can just call it y. It doesn't matter. I'm just calling it y2. And then again, we know our formula is, it's divided by 2. And then we know that should equal our y in the midpoint. So this is our y for the midpoint. So it should equal -2. So again, we are working with an equation. We're just going to solve. We're solving for this unknown right here. So again, when it's a big, long division bar, we got to get rid of this divided by 2 first. And then we get rid of addition or subtraction. That's the special case of when we don't follow the traditional rules. So go ahead and try those, and you should get your new x and your new y matching. All right, 11. Line RS is a bisector of PQ at point R. So, if we have that, it says find PQ, or I'm sorry, find RQ if PQ is 24.8 centimeters. So this is a good one to draw out. We have line RS is a segment bisector. So let's draw our segment first, and let's just draw a line right in the middle because we know it's a bisector. So we know that this is line, or we have a segment PQ, and then it says it bisects at point R, so we're going to call this RS because that's our line. So now that we have that, we're going to make sure we're just going to label what we have. So it says find RO, okay? So, I'm sorry, RQ if PQ is 24.8. So we know the whole entire thing is 24.8. And then I put my little tick marks in there because I know these two are equal. So from given the whole length, you should be able to perform an operation and find out what each one of these sides are, because remember, they're equal. All right, number 12. This is our diagram here below, and we know that M is a midpoint, so that tells us these two things are equal. And we want you to find AB, so the whole entire length. So what we need to first do is we need to set these two things equal to each other because we know they're equal to each other. So I'll get you started here. X squared plus 12x equals 9x plus 28. Now remember, these are those ones that's why we practiced the factoring. We are going to have to move everything to the other side, and we are going to have to factor out a trinomial at one point. So we're going to have to take this 9x to the other side and this 28 to the other side, and we should be with 3 terms, and then we can use our zero property where we set it equal to 0, and then we find the 2 roots, and we pick the one that's positive, okay? So again, we are moving both things to the other side by adding or subtracting. We are going to get 3 new terms. You have to figure out what goes in the middle here, a plus or a minus. A plus or a minus. And then, again, we can set it equal to 0. It doesn't really matter because what we're going to end up doing is we are going to have to factor. And we're going to have to find our x. And then what happens once you find x, you have to plug it back into one of the sides. So you have to first find the correct x. And remember, we have to find the x that when we solve the root, it's positive. So you could also remember that it's the opposite of what you come with here. And then you plug the x into either 9 times whatever your x is plus 28, or you plug it into this one. I would think it's easier to plug it into this side. So I'm going to put that here, 9 times whatever you get as your correct x, plus your 28. Now it wants to know the whole length. So since there's 2 of them, whatever you get as your answer, I want you to make sure you double it. So whatever this answer is just one side. So you have to end up doubling it, and I want you to put your final answer over here after you double it, and then just make sure to circle or square it. But don't forget to double this answer. Okay, so this is the multiple choice section for 1.3 only. Go back, rewatch anything you need to, use your notes, your review, anything you need.